In a world where hybrid innovation is supposedly the exclusive domain of billion-dollar labs and tightly guarded automotive R&D centers, a teenager from rural Russia quietly detonated that illusion. His workshop wasn't a research facility. It was a freezing, dimly lit garage in Stavropol. His budget wasn't corporate. He spent less than the price of a decent smartphone. And yet, with a battered Lada Samara and a handful of salvaged industrial parts, he built a functioning hybrid that shamed the official efforts of AvtoVAZ itself. His success exposes an uncomfortable truth. Ingenuity can thrive where institutions fail. The Stavropol hybrid paradox. Picture this. When you think of the bleeding edge of automotive innovation, your mind likely drifts to the sterile, climate-controlled laboratories of Silicon Valley. You imagine clean rooms, teams of PhD engineers in white coats, and research budgets that rival the GDP of small nations. You think of proprietary battery management systems, encrypted engine control units, and the kind of immense capital expenditure that makes the barrier to entry feel insurmountable. But innovation doesn't always happen in a vacuum of unlimited resources. Sometimes it happens in a freezing garage in the Stavropol territory of Russia, where the heating is optional and the budget is whatever is in your pocket. This is where we find Mikhail, not a lead engineer at a multinational corporation, but an 11th grade student who looked at the established orthodoxy of electric vehicle manufacturing and decided to dismantle it. His canvas for this disruption was the VAZ 2109, better known to the world as the Lada Samara. To call the Samara a basic vehicle is an understatement. This is a car defined by its lack of refinement. It is a ubiquitous, boxy 5-door hatchback that served as the workhorse of the post-Soviet world. It has no sound deadening to speak of. The panel gaps are more like suggestions than measurements, and under the hood sits a modest 1.5-liter engine. On paper, that engine produces 78 horsepower and 118 newton-meters of torque. In the real world, however, it is a machine that suffers from a drinking problem. Despite its small size, the Samara is notorious for consuming fuel at a rate of 10 liters per 100 kilometers in city driving, an inefficiency that rivals much larger, more powerful engines. But this mechanical simplicity was exactly what Mikhail needed. The Samara is an analog device in a digital world. It lacks the complex, encrypted software and integrated CAN bus systems that make modifying a modern Volkswagen or Toyota prohibitively difficult. It was the perfect open architecture candidate for a radical experiment. The headline here isn't just that a teenager built a hybrid, it is how little it cost him. The entire project, from the electric motor to the battery array, came in at approximately 30,000 rubles. That converts to roughly $400. Think about that figure for a moment. $400 is less than the price of a mid-range smartphone. It is a fraction of the cost of a single replacement LED headlight assembly on a modern electric vehicle. Yet, with that sum, Mikhail achieved demonstrably functional electrification. He created a plug-in hybrid electric vehicle that actually works, slashing his fuel consumption and boosting performance. While multinational automotive giants invest billions in specialized research and development to squeeze out marginal efficiency increases of 2 or 3%, this student in Stavropol proved that a minimal viable hybrid solution, optimized for cost and function, can deliver substantial, real-world gains. This achievement is so stark, so undeniably impressive, that it pierced the bubble of the global elite. It caught the attention of Tesla CEO Elon Musk, a man sitting at the absolute apex of high-tech EV manufacturing. Musk publicly responded to the project on social media, choosing to reply in Russian with a lighthearted comment that signaled his genuine amusement and validation of the build. That acknowledgement matters. It validates the functional efficacy of low-tech, decentralized clean-tech solutions. It serves as a humiliating slap in the face to the industrial bias that insists progress requires complexity and high capital expenditure. Mikhail didn't just build a car, he inadvertently crafted a powerful economic assertion. He showed us that the Lada platform functions as a disruptive canvas, offering an affordable, proven blueprint for decarbonizing the vast, aging fleet of internal combustion engines that still power the developing world. The corporation's fatal flaw: Mikhail's success is most keenly understood when you contrast his single $400 achievement with the chronic structural failures of the entire institutional automotive establishment that surrounded him. We are talking about AvtoVAZ, the producer of Lada vehicles, the corporation that was supposed to spearhead Russian automotive innovation. For decades, AvtoVAZ has poured immense capital into efforts to develop cost-competitive, alternative fuel vehicles, but the story is one of consistent collapse. Their history is littered with what are often cruelly but accurately termed paper hybrids, initiatives that looked great in a press release but failed to materialize or achieve market viability. Their early hydrogen efforts, like the Lada Antel project, were technological quagmires, stalling out due to fundamental technical and economic infeasibility, a pattern that mirrored broader global struggles with hydrogen deployment at the time. But their more recent official attempts at electrification are arguably more humiliating than their older failures. Consider the Lada A Largus, their modern, mass-production electric effort. Despite being based on the aging and cheap Renault Logan platform, AvtoVAZ slapped a catastrophic price tag on it, marketing it from around $32,000 to over $42,000 USD. Let that soak in. This official, factory-certified corporate EV is often more expensive than internationally recognized electric vehicles with vastly superior technology and performance. It is non-viable for its core domestic market, a market defined by affordability and necessity. This paradox reveals a deep structural problem within centralized corporate R&D. AvtoVAZ isn't just inefficient, it is structurally constrained. They are forced to comply with every letter of the law, including the stringent safety homologation requirements under things like the Technical Regulation of the Customs Union, TRCU 018-2011. These regulations mandate complexity, expensive supplier mandates, and layers of bureaucratic overhead. This is what we call the regulatory tax. Every compliance check, every mandatory certification, every safety requirement adds weight and cost, driving the final certified product far beyond the reach of the average consumer. This inflated cost structure creates the vacuum that grassroots innovation, like Mikhail's, rushes in to fill. In stark contrast to this centralized, compliance-driven behemoth, Mikhail's project was fueled by a single, ruthless optimization criterion: economic survival. His goal was not to meet some abstract global technical metric. His goal was to lower the operational cost of his daily commute, forcing his solution to bypass every non-essential feature and certification. This brings us to the cultural engine behind the Stavropol hybrid, smekhalka. For a Western audience, this colloquial Russian term is often simplified to just cleverness, but it is far more profound. Smekhalka is a philosophy of engineering born from necessity. It is aggressive resourcefulness, ingenuity, and the ability to improvise, the ultimate form of making do with whatever is to hand. This mindset is a direct legacy of the post-Soviet environment, characterized by scarcity and a strong educational emphasis on foundational physics and polytechnic skills. While AvtoVAZ engineers optimize for maximum range and global specifications, the engineering dictated by smekhalka is optimized for local constraints, low capital, scarcity of specialized parts, and the unforgiving reality of extreme cold. This cultural philosophy gave Mikhail the operational framework necessary to transform cheap salvaged industrial components into a functional automotive system. He didn't have the luxury of buying new, proprietary systems. He had to look at a dumpster diver's list of robust, non-automotive parts and figure out how to make them work in harmony. This decentralized, necessity-driven fabrication defines the difference between a project that costs $40,000 and a project that costs $400. The architecture of survival. To understand why this project worked, you have to look past the rust and see the genius in the chassis selection. Mikhail didn't choose the VZ2109 simply because it was cheap. He chose it because it is what we call an open architecture vehicle. If you try to modify the powertrain of a modern Volkswagen or a Ford, you are immediately stopped by a firewall of digital encryption. Modern cars are networks of locked computers. Their engine control units are encrypted to prevent exactly this kind of tampering. The Lada, however, comes from a different era. It has no digital locks, no encrypted CAN bus system, and no proprietary software to jailbreak. It is a purely mechanical device. This absence of digital security meant that the most significant hurdle in modern hybrid conversion, hacking the software, was eliminated before the first wrench was even turned. With the platform secured, Mikhail implemented a hybrid topology known as a P0 mild hybrid. In the hierarchy of electrification, this is the entry-level tier, but for a garage builder, it is the strategic sweet spot. In a P0 configuration, you don't need to rip out the transmission or redesign the differential. Instead, the electric motor is mounted to the accessory drive, coupled directly to the internal combustion engine's crankshaft via a custom belt drive. It effectively replaces the alternator, but with enough muscle to drive the engine. This allows the manual transmission and the core engine management system to remain entirely intact. The electric motor's job is focused and specific. Provide torque assist during the heavy launch phase and harvest energy through regenerative braking when slowing down. Now, let's talk about that motor. In a conventional hybrid from Toyota or Honda, the traction motor is a marvel of precision engineering. Compact, lightweight, rare earth magnet dense, and incredibly expensive. Mikhail looked at that bill of materials and threw it out. Instead, he sourced a repurposed industrial AC induction motor. We are talking about the kind of heavy, ugly, cast iron unit you might find running a conveyor belt or a ventilation fan in a factory. It produces somewhere between 3 and 5 kilowatts. It isn't pretty, and it certainly isn't light, but it is robust, easily sourced, and costs pennies on the dollar compared to an automotive-grade unit. By utilizing a motor designed for industry rather than mobility, he bypassed the automotive supply chain entirely, securing a component that is virtually indestructible for the price of a nice dinner. But the true brilliance of this build, the decision that elevates it from a hobby project to a masterclass in regional engineering, is the battery. If you put a standard lithium-ion battery in a car in Stavropol during the winter, you are going to have a bad time. Standard lithium chemistry creates a graphite anode bottleneck that causes capacity to plummet and charging to fail when the thermometer drops. In Russia, where temperatures routinely plunge to minus 40 degrees Celsius, a Tesla battery would be fighting just to stay alive. Mikhail recognized this climatic imperative and chose lithium titanate oxide, or LTO, cells. LTO is the tank of the battery world. It sacrifices energy density, meaning it's heavy and holds less charge per pound, in exchange for absolute operational resilience. These cells can retain over 70% of their capacity at minus 40 degrees, a temperature where standard batteries are effectively bricks. Furthermore, LTO cells have an insane cycle life, capable of enduring over 25,000 charge and discharge cycles, which is 10 times that of a standard lithium cell. This makes them perfect for the rapid, high-power cycling of a hybrid system that is constantly charging and discharging at every stoplight. Mikhail likely salvaged these cells from electric buses or stationary storage systems, turning industrial waste into a climate-proof power source. He stuffed this battery pack into the spare tire well, creating a system that wasn't optimized for the brochures, but was perfectly optimized for the freezing reality of the Russian winter. The $1 control system. If you ask an automotive engineer what the most difficult part of designing a hybrid is, they won't say the motor, and they won't say the battery. They will tell you it is the handoff. The seamless transition between the internal combustion engine and the electric drive is a nightmare of physics and programming. Companies like Toyota and Ford have spent decades and hundreds of millions of dollars developing sophisticated electronic control units, or ECUs, to manage this. They write millions of lines of code just to decide when to turn the motor on and when to turn it off. It is a symphony of sensors, algorithms, and torque blending strategies. Mikhail looked at that complexity, realized he had zero budget for software development, and deleted the entire problem with a component that costs $1. He installed a microswitch. This is the most disruptive and controversial element of the entire build. Instead of a computer trying to guess what the driver wants, Mikhail built a system that relies on the driver simply telling the car what to do. He mounted a mechanical microswitch directly under the accelerator pedal. The logic is binary and brutally effective. When you are driving normally, pottering around at partial throttle, the car runs on the gas engine. But the moment you stomp on the pedal, when you push it past a specific threshold, say 80%, the pedal physically clicks the switch. That click instantly closes the circuit and dumps current into the electric motor. This transforms the driver into the human ECU. You are no longer a passive passenger requesting permission from a computer to accelerate. You are the active manager of the hybrid system. If you need power, you smash the pedal, the switch clicks, and the electric motor kicks in immediately. This mechanical simplicity completely bypasses the most fragile part of modern car design, the code. Modern hybrids are plagued by obscure software failures. Owners of high-end hybrids live in fear of diagnostic trouble codes like P0 BBD or P0 AC4, cryptic signals that indicate a communication breakdown between the battery control module and the hybrid powertrain. These errors can brick a car that is mechanically fine. By using a physical switch, Mikhail made those errors impossible. You cannot have a software crash in a system that has no software. But the real magic happens on the road. This binary injection of power solves the single biggest problem of the Lada platform. The stock internal combustion engine is a sluggish, low-compression relic. It suffers from a deep torque valley at low RPMs, meaning that when the light turns green, you put your foot down and wait for the engine to wake up. It is slow, loud, and unresponsive. The electric motor, however, possesses the exact opposite characteristic. It provides maximum torque from 0 RPM. By engaging the electric motor exactly when the gas engine is struggling the most, Mikhail achieved what engineers call torque fill. The electric shove fills in the gap where the combustion engine is weak. The result is a car that launches with a vigor that defies its age. It jumps off the line, masking the deficiencies of the old Soviet engineering with a layer of instant electric torque. While it lacks the nuanced, computer-smoothed efficiency of a Prius, it captures the vast majority of the real-world benefit, the launch assist and the fuel savings, without a single line of code. It proves that sometimes the smartest way to control a machine is to just let the human do it. The economics of necessity. The true vindication of Mikhail's project isn't found in the wiring diagrams or the mechanical layout, but in the cold, hard arithmetic of the fuel receipt. When we look at the stock AvtoVAZ 2109, we are looking at a vehicle that is, by modern standards, a financial liability. In city driving, that 1.5-liter engine is notorious for consuming upwards of 10 liters of fuel for every 100 kilometers traveled. It turns dinosaurs into noise and heat with alarming inefficiency. For a student or a working-class commuter in provincial Russia, that fuel bill is a significant percentage of monthly income. It is a constant draining tax on mobility. But after the conversion, the numbers shifted dramatically. Mikhail reported that his fuel consumption dropped to a range of 5 to 6 liters per 100 kilometers. Let's contextualize what that means. We aren't talking about the incremental gains touted by modern manufacturers. When Audi or Mercedes releases a new 48-volt mild hybrid system, their press releases celebrate efficiency improvements of 10 or maybe 15%. They achieve this with billions of dollars in R&D and systems so complex they require specialized dealership tools to service. Mikhail achieved a staggering 40 to 50% reduction in fuel consumption. He effectively cut his operating costs in half. He didn't just improve the car, he doubled its economic value. This massive gain is possible precisely because the baseline vehicle was so inefficient. It turns out the most fertile ground for improvement isn't the optimized modern engine, but the wasteful legacy platform. Now, apply the economics of the $400 investment. In the world of automotive finance, return on investment is usually measured in years or tens of thousands of miles. For this project, the timeline is compressed into months. If you are saving 4 to 5 liters of fuel every 100 kilometers, the savings accumulate rapidly. For a daily driver doing a standard commute, the entire cost of the motor, the batteries, and the micro switch pays for itself in fuel savings alone within less than half a year. Every kilometer driven after that point is pure profit. This transforms the project from a quirky garage experiment into a direct, necessity-driven financial strategy. It proves that for the average person, green technology isn't about saving the polar bears, it's about saving the rent money. This establishes a critical benchmark that challenges the entire global strategy for decarbonization. It demonstrates a concept we can call the Pareto principle of electrification. In economics, the Pareto principle states that 80% of consequences come from 20% of the causes. Mikhail's build pushes this even further. It suggests that you can achieve 80% of the real-world efficiency benefits of a hybrid, the regenerative braking, the launch assist, the fuel reduction, for about 1% of the cost of a commercial system. We tend to believe that the solution to climate change is replacing every old car with a $60,000 Tesla. But that is an economic impossibility for the vast majority of the global population. The Stavropol hybrid proves that a dumb, mechanically managed hybrid system is actually the smarter economic choice for the developing world. The state versus the garage. In Russia, the garage is rarely just a place where you park your car. It is a cultural institution. It functions as a shadow R&D lab, a decentralized network of unregulated workshops where traditional polytechnic skills collide with modern scavenged parts. This is where the real innovation happens, not because the engineers here are smarter than the ones at AvtoVAZ, but because they have nothing to lose. They are not constrained by quarterly earnings reports or shareholder meetings. They are driven by the pure, unadulterated need to make things work. But as Mikhail found out, when you solve a problem that the state has failed to solve, you don't get a medal, you get a fine. Despite the global praise and the undeniable efficiency gains, the Stavropol hybrid ran headfirst into the rigid wall of the Russian legal system. The local authorities didn't see a breakthrough in affordable electrification. They saw a violation of the administrative code. They cited Article 12.5, a catch-all regulation that bans the operation of a vehicle with unauthorized design changes. In the eyes of the law, Mikhail wasn't an innovator. He was a delinquent driving a defect. He was fined for driving without insurance and for the unauthorized refitting of the vehicle. Ultimately, the Lada was confiscated. The car that earned a nod from Elon Musk ended up in a police impound lot, silenced by the very bureaucracy it was designed to outsmart. There is a bitter, palpable irony here. The government claims to want green energy. They claim to want to modernize the fleet and reduce emissions. Yet, the same regulatory framework that makes it impossible for AvtoVAZ to build a cheap electric car also makes it criminal for a citizen to build their own. The regulatory tax that bloats the price of the corporate product also serves as the hammer that crushes the grassroots alternative. The system is designed to protect standard protocols, but in doing so, it actively criminalizes the only environmentally beneficial innovation that ordinary people can actually afford. Now, we have to be adults about this and look at the safety reality. We cannot romanticize this without acknowledging the danger. Mikhail's hybrid was built with scavenged industrial parts. It carried a high-voltage battery pack in the spare tire well, likely without OEM-grade thermal management, redundant fusing, or impact sensors. If that car gets rear-ended or if a cell malfunctions, there is a genuine risk of a catastrophic electrical fire. It is not safe by the standards of a modern Volvo, but we have to ask ourselves a difficult question. Is the binary nature of the law serving the public good? The current regulatory framework operates on a pass/fail basis. You are either a certified, homologated vehicle that costs $40,000, or you are an illegal contraption. There is no middle ground. There is no experimental class for the tinkerer, no regulatory sandbox for low-cost retrofit kits. This inflexibility creates a protectionist mechanism. It shields high-cost certified solutions from disruptive low-cost alternatives. By refusing to create a legal pathway for safe enough, garage-built innovation, the state ensures that safety remains a luxury good, available only to the rich, while the poor are forced to keep burning gasoline in inefficient engines. The cyberpunk future arrives. The Stavropol hybrid is more than just a clever modification. It is a glimpse into a genuine cyberpunk future. We often imagine the future of transport as a gleaming, sterile utopia of autonomous pods, but Mikhail shows us a grittier, more realistic probability. Real cyberpunk isn't about neon lights and flying cars. It is about high-tech capability grafted onto low-tech resources. It is the juxtaposition of advanced lithium titanate chemistry sitting in the rusted spare tire well of a Soviet hatchback. This project validates the concept of a restamod economy. It proves that we do not need to mine enough rare earth metals to replace every single internal combustion engine on the planet with a $60,000 electric vehicle. Instead, We can achieve massive decarbonization by dragging the existing global fleet into the 21st century. We can take the millions of aging chassis already on the road and upgrade them with commoditized industrial electric parts. Mikhail exposed a glitch in the global automotive matrix, the assumption that progress requires the consumer to be passive. He proved that the most efficient vehicle isn't necessarily the one you buy new from a showroom. It is the one you rescue, re-engineer, and rebuild yourself. The future belongs to those who refuse to wait for permission to innovate. Don't just buy the future, build it.